Well, hello, my beautifuls. It's very rare that I start my morning out with TikTok. Hello. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Bullhorn Betty, and I cover true crime. I've been covering true crime predominantly on this platform for well over 5 years. I got my name from the Gabby Petito case. I was the crazy lady with the bullhorn out in front of Brian Laundrie's house. If you recognize my face, it's got a few more wrinkles on it than it once did, but that's who I am. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims. So we're covering the case of this Nancy Guthrie, and we've been talking about it at length, not just on this platform, but on the YT platform and Facebook, quite frankly, because it's so perplexing and defies logic. Who would have the need to take an elderly 84-year-old woman from her bed out of her home in the middle of the night? Yes, Huxley, it's personal. It's not random. There's no purpose for it. There's no benefit for anybody to take this woman. And so everybody's like the ransom. I mean, come on with this ransom thing. Okay, this is made for movies. Okay. The idea that people are being kidnapped in the United States for ransom is almost comical, right? It's almost comical. Not that it doesn't happen. I'm sure that we do have one outlier out there in the world we don't know about, or, but at the end of the day, the idea that 84-year-old elderly women are being plucked out of their sleep for some type of, the lady's worth her daughter's worth $40 million. Okay, let me just break this down to you. I have a developer here in Manatee County, which is worth $2 billion. Okay, so my point I'm making is if somebody wanted to abduct somebody, I'm certain they wanted money, they would probably be going up higher up the food chain, okay? Because the developer here in this county doesn't have security, doesn't have this, doesn't have that, right? And a $2 billion guy right here in my county, my tiny little county. So I just, the point I'm trying to make is if it was truly just about, I'll go over that in just a second, Gregory. If it's truly about the ransom letter, then, I feel like somebody with a little more money would probably be right up that alley, right? So what we've learned is on the Ashley Banfield show, now that we got some people coming in, it's nice to see you, by the way. On the Ashley Banfield show, we learned that her sources have told her the son-in-law is a prime suspect. Now, granted, this is not coming from official sources. These are sources. I know how News Nation is. I know how strict they are with them relaying the sources. So this would have had to been a very, very, very strong source from higher up and in the actual law enforcement arena, or it would have had to have been multiple sources with the same information. That's pretty much the procedure and protocol for News Nation. I'm very familiar with News Nation. I know Brian Enton personally, and I'm very familiar with their requirements for their anchors and news personnel. So that's telling me that this is legitimate stuff here. So we also have a car that has been towed. So Annie and Tom's car has been towed, has been impounded for evidence. So right now it's looking, which we all kind of felt this was closer to home. Nothing really, you know, I mean, we were even trying to stretch on the YT because this sounded so DV, you know, and when we plugged all the details into AI, it basically told us that, you know, the first thing would be an intimate partner. That would be like number one person to look at in this scenario is an intimate partner. Now, she's 84 years old, and many people would look past that, but you can't. Because let's face it, you know, 84-year-old young is still getting the groove on this day and age. I'm just throwing that out there to you youngins, okay? I know you ain't trying to hear all that, but you know, you can't really dismiss it. And if you notice, like Jill Biden, her ex-husband is right now arrested and sitting in jail for a homicide charge. And that's like the ex-president's first lady, right? Jill Biden. Her 77-year-old ex-husband is now in jail so don't think that there's no elderly crime out there. There absolutely is elderly crime out there in the ether, out there in the world, right? And so we can't dismiss that this could have been an elderly person, that if I can't have you, nobody can. But it really didn't fit, in all fairness. I mean, we were kind of making it more satire. Hello, Sass. It was more satire, like grandma getting her groove on, than really us thinking that was a path forward. What really made sense is a family member, or because she lives alone and she has a nice house, you have to imagine that she's got a lot of domestic workers working in and around her house at any given day and time, right? So you have lawn care service, you have pool maintenance service, you probably have a house cleaner, you probably have, you know, some type of assisted living person coming in to sit with you, make you food, you know, those types of things. She was an elderly lady that lived by herself. So you would have, and having a daughter worth $45 million, you know, I'm pretty sure that you're being well taken care for in your home. That's what I have to assume, because I looked at this case, I looked at in Savannah, I looked at her whole family. And the problem really is, you know, if you had to find out the outlier or kind of like the putz in the family, it would be Annie Guthrie. Yeah, she's living in a $650,000 home and she wrote a book and stuff like that. But she's really, I mean, you've got the stellar brother that's, you know, from the Air Force or whatever, private license and everything like that. And then you've got Savannah, that is a famous news anchor on the Today Show. They all seem very sweet and ginger and gentle at heart. Even her sister, you know, but you can kind of see her sister is kind of bred from a different cloth than the brother and the other sister, Savannah, and their brother Cameron. She's more, you know, when I'm looking at photos, I'm getting the vibe of hippie, you know, and hippie type people aren't really violent, but, you know, Thomas is from a different country. He's an Italian. And it's not that, you know, people from different countries don't live. It's not that. It's just different cultures. They're raised differently. They think differently. Their minds process things differently. I don't want to be, you know, disrespectful, because there's been no official statement from law enforcement, and this could be a very good way of just clearing these folks, because they were the last ones that saw the mom and father. So I really want to play the middle of the road here on this, but my gut is really telling me that this was much closer to home, that this could very well be the son-in-law. You know, I was stressing very, very much how uncomfortable. These are the main things that I'm uncomfortable with. I'm uncomfortable that they drove her home, and in Savannah's also an attorney. Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that. But here's where it comes down to for me, and why this does make sense for me. Because they were truly the last person to see the mother alive. They went out to dinner with her, and hearing that it may have been possible that Annie didn't drop the mother off at the house with Thomas. That it might have just been Thomas that dropped the mother off. So although she disconnected at 2 a.m., if he went to that house with the mother by himself, that could have been the opportunity. Something could have happened in that car. Something could have happened in that house. He could have lied in wait or put her to bed. I mean, we really just don't know what happened. What we do know is that there's blood inside that house and outside of that house. Brian Enton showed that blood to us on the news. Do I have a copy of it here? I don't think I have. Oh, yeah, I do have a copy of it here, but not a good one. Didn't. But you guys can see, like, right over here, you guys can see a little bit of the blood. This one right here concerns me the most because you see a spraying of this blood. And I can't figure out what would be on this ground or, that would spray it in such a weird angle. I've looked at blood spatter before. I've looked at blood patterns before. So I do kind of understand the droplets and what the droplets truly do mean. I've studied enough of that I have a good understanding of that. I'm not an expert in the field by any stretch of the imagination. That's not what I'm trying to, but we have a good common sense and a good understanding of it, right? And so that's important. But at the end of the day, what would make a person decide that they are ready to end a life? And typically it's money, maybe stress, maybe he's wanting to do things. It seems like they were in they love to travel, they love to the music and stuff like that. Maybe being so close to her, it was preventing them from being able to leave. Money and jealousy, Happy Place says. Yeah, I mean, there's a variety of reasons that really explain why we are here, but we all kind of felt it was a little closer to home. Nothing really made sense because, I mean, again, coming down to it, let's face it, $45 million for us, for normal Joes, that's a lot of flipping money, okay? That is a lot of money. But targeting somebody for a ransom, that's a low man on the totem pole for this type of crime. You see what I'm saying? Because like I said, believe it or not, we have much more wealthy people that are unknown to us than wealthy people that are known to us. Like I said, there's a developer in my county that's, he's got a net worth of $2 billion. Nobody knows him. I mean, unless you live here or you're familiar with it, Florida knows him because he's a well-known developer here. So Florida knows him, but not a whole lot of people know him. But I would think that you would want, even him, he's around that age. No, he's not. He's a little bit younger. But you would think that you would want to go and get somebody like this developer, as a ransom victim, as opposed to an elderly 84-year-old woman that has mobility issues. And one of the other takeaways from all of this on the Ashley Banfield was her source was also saying, it's trouble. It's a problem to try to, jack up a grandmother in the middle of the night. This is not something that's going to be easy. She's got mobility issues. If God forbid, if something happens, she falls. I mean, you're dealing with an elderly person that has dead weight. I mean, you're dealing with a lot. And because of the scenario and the situation, this felt really, really early on to me as being a man involved, a man being the instigator and the person that was running the show. It was just a few things that just kind of gave me those little indicators. And so I thought it was a man. And then, of course, there was leakage from the sheriff where he said, I don't know why he did this. Only he would know why he did this. And that told me right there in that statement that it was a man, that law enforcement believes it was a man, and that it was a singular man. And not like one or two people. I know he's walked that back since, but again, they're in active investigation, and he probably realized the statement that he made that was probably improper to make at that time. You got to remember, even sheriffs are human. So we look at human element. We apply a lot of things like the deception deck. I don't know if you heard of this deception detective. He's on the YT. He's got these cards, and this is the deception deck. And it really does kind of break down different things to help you identify deception, like clustering, And it's an important to remember that honest individuals don't always communicate flawlessly. So they're even taking into account that we as average people don't communicate flawlessly. If the statement exhibits only one or two potential indicators of deception, it's more likely to be truthful. Being cautious about labeling a statement as deceptive based on isolated red flags can help minimize the risk of false positives. So it's even telling you, not just when people talk, they're not talking flawlessly. So you're going to have some indicators there of deception, but it should be multiple indicators. It shouldn't just be one or two indicators, which just, maybe a speech issue versus anything else. Nurse with a pacemaker, her blood thinner is crucial. Slight cut, loss of bleeding, exactly. And we saw a lot of blood in that house. And if she's on blood thinners, that cannot be good. I mean, we saw a lot of blood on the outside of the house. I mean, that wasn't life-threatening blood, but that's showing a major injury, okay, in my opinion. It's not, what I observed outside of the house is not life-threatening. But again, like I said, it's very serious. What I saw out there, especially the one spot with the spatter and the spraying of the blood that would overlap the droplets, that was very concerning for me as somebody that has looked at a lot of crime scene photos before, and a lot of blood droplets, a lot of blood spatter stuff. High velocity, medium velocity, and low velocity. It's staged. I think they could have done better staging, in all fairness. I think that I think this person should have tried to make this more in line with a burglary. But people that don't want for nothing don't know how to burglarize. So they don't know, typically they'll go and fluff a drawer and, act like the drawer, like take who's taking underwear, right? And pull the drawers out in a jar, the drawers and stuff like that. That may have been what's here, because they've been so silent about the crime scene. They've been very smart about this. They've been very silent about the crime scene because of the fact that they want to keep that only the suspect knows certain things. So they've been very, very good at that. Even this sheriff that's not used to everybody hanging on to every word. And give the sheriff a break. He seems like a really nice guy. And he seems like he's not used to this. And it seems like what he's going through right now is very stressful for him, as it is for everybody. But he's in he doesn't deal with this stuff every day. Not like anybody else does, but typically we have more shenanigans coming from law enforcement, and it seems to me that he's been trying to be very truthful. So I don't, when people are benefiting our stuff and really trying to work and get us as much information as possible, when our counterparts don't, we should be embracing that and be thankful for that, not critical. I mean, we can be critical of certain investigative efforts and stuff like that, but I feel like his heart is in the right place, and those things matter to me, when I'm looking at a case. So I think we're doing good, in all fairness, with this case, but I don't know. It seems like it is hitting closer to home. Savannah has canceled. She's not doing the Winter Olympics. As you guys can imagine, this is a serious situation. What I like about Nancy, I know we're all hyper political in our environment right now. They are not, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican. I know that might turn some people off. I really don't care. It is what it is. They are not, they are Democrats and stuff like that. And I just want to make sure everybody knows that in the real world, I know in this hyper political stuff, in the real world, people don't care about whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Okay. In the real world, when we have missing people, we stop what we're doing and we try to help. In the real world, we don't ask you what your ideology is when we're trying to help a family. And at the end of the day, an R or a D does not make you a good or a bad person. Okay, it's what's in here and what is up here that makes that in each and every one of us. And this family looks absolutely lovely. They look absolutely sweet. They look like an amazing family, an American family. And no matter how we feel politically, that doesn't change a fact. A woman that is well known around this country is going through the worst time in her absolute life. And at the end of the day, we as human beings help. And that's the most impactful thing I can say, is that we as human beings show up, we stand up, and we fight for what is right. And I want everybody to know we never bother asking where you came from, what your net worth is, who you are, how you voted. When we see somebody in need, we stand up and speak up. And that's what the true crime community is all about. Now, I hear some people, well, we have this person, we have that person. So what? So no person that has resources should ever be promoted or talked about on our channel? This is a real human being, folks. And she is really missing. And guess what? Her family really loves her. We take on cases that defy logic. Okay, I don't care if this is a Skid Row case. If it defies logic, it's probably going to be showing up on the Bullhorn Betty channel. We've taken low profile cases where there was no attention to the case, all the way up to the highest profile cases like Gabby Petito in the Idaho 4. We do not, we can only take one case at a time or two cases at a time, but we can't by far cover every single case that's out there. But the great news is there's hundreds of thousands to millions of content creators that cover true crime. So don't worry, people are being covered. But I heard that and it just broke my heart. And it's like, you know, you're punishing somebody because they have a great family. I'm not going to do that. These people are hurting. We could help, and that is one of the other criteria. Can we help? And the answer is we can help. How can we help? Sharing information and trying to bring her home. Remember, she's not found, and her family is very concerned. And the unknown is far worse than the known in situations like this. So we try to bring answers, and we try to promote people helping. And we try to inspire people. Do we do it emotionally? Yes. But sometimes people need to be emotionally involved in a case to help. And so that's what the true crime community does well. We, help pull some of that emotion out of you to help you realize that you care. I don't know how to do that. Is it manipulative? A little bit. It is. But you know what? We come here and we truly believe it. And trust me, our hearts are invested in this stuff too. So this case right here is sad. This woman's face looked like many grandmas across this country. And I'm certain that a lot of us are feeling for this very family right now. And especially having a nut in-law. You know, we all have somebody that's nutty in our family, right? Now, granted, he hasn't been arrested. He hasn't been publicly identified as a person of interest or a suspect in this matter. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The difference is we're not a court of law. We're the court of public opinion. So who's the nut-in-law? No, there's no nut-in-law. That's a brother-in-law. So they've got the brother-in-law under investigation from everything that we've learned. So you guys are first. I'm going to be going over to the YT and doing a live at 9. You guys are more than welcome to come over and hang out if you guys would like to. We will be diving into these details a lot deeper. When I move there, we usually have a minimum of a 2-hour live, 2 to 4 hour live, where we really dive into this. And it's kind of your show, and it's more interactive. So, and I show you my screen and we do some research. So if that's kind of your gig and you like that, then come on over. I believe I've already got it set up on the YT right now. We should have it as an active upcoming live that is going on, but I can't be 100 because my computer just died on me. So anyways, guys, we'll see you at 9, and we got a lot to discuss. And Ashley Banfield dropped some bombshells for us yesterday that we're going to be absolutely discussing. Let me see what time we're going live. We are going live 9 a.m. 9 a.m. on the YT. All right, we'll see you soon. Rock it out with your coffee beans out.